las manos. En las manos así, solo quitárselo sin herirlo.
Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical. Today I've got Don Santo and Mariano here with me. We've got our machetes and we're gonna teach you how to use a machete like a pro. And I wanted to bring two of my guys with me today that are pros with machetes, absolute professionals. These guys have probably 70 years of experience between them working with a machete. We're gonna show you the difference between your standard average, the cheapest that you can get, but still working every day machete. This is a Gavilan, and it's basically the absolute minimum, cheapest. You're gonna just go through, we'll show you how to maintain it, and they don't last very long. You actually sharpen them so much, you have to keep sharpening them so much, the steel's so soft and so thin that you actually go through them. You wear away the entire blade. Then we've got the Bone Tactical machetes here on the other end of the spectrum, and they're probably one of the most expensive machetes in the world, and they're definitely the most effective machete in the world. But this isn't gonna be a video simply about my machetes. This is gonna literally teach you how to use a machete like a pro. We're gonna talk about the do's and don'ts of machete use and give you some pro tips along the way. Basically what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna just ask them some questions. I'll talk you through exactly how to use a machete, but I wanna let you guys get their knowledge shared with you. Entonces, Mariano sí tiene algunos trucos para alguien que tal vez no sabe bastante el uso de machete o que no ha utilizado mucho el machete.
Cuando esté en un machete, puedo decir, este machete es peligroso para las personas que no lo pueden usar, para las personas que no puedan usar, que no lo pueda agarrar un niño, ¿cómo se llama? Que sepa que el arma es peligrosa. Es fila aquí, sin menos, con un cabo, una lima para no herirse.
A mantener filado,
sí.
Un buen filo. Y en el momento de usar, ¿cómo agarra? ¿Cómo se
tira?
Ajá.
Con ganas.
Ajá.
Bueno, entonces yo voy diciendo, cuando uno quiere cortar un palo, no se da recto, sino que se le da un poco chaplán. Sí.
¿Y Don Santo tiene algún consejo de uso de machete o algo que pueden decir?
Sí.
¿Cómo quiere explicar?
Pues en la cuestión de la herramienta, vaya un ejemplo, no sabe utilizar un machete, por ejemplo, y toca que escalar una montaña.
Sí.
Tiene que afilarlo bien primero, después, ¿cómo se llama? Entrar a la montaña y saberlo manejar para que no haya ningún peligro. Y siempre andarlo con precaución.
Y si tiene funda, entonces en el caso que anda en la funda sería mejor.
Sí, pueden andarlo bien cubiertado.
So, just in brief, some of the things that we've highlighted with them are that you want to use. It's a one-handed use item, not a two-handed use item. So it can be a little bit loose in your grip as you swing it, but then you want to tighten your hand as you come down, and you don't want to swing straight down because it can cut straight through and then hurt yourself. Also, for cutting, you want to be removing pieces of the wood. So you bring it up and then at an angle, but what you'd never want to do, and this will hurt yourself, the machete, anything like that, you don't want to hit at where the machete itself is at an angle, or you don't want to limp wrist it. So it's a cutting angle, but it's always going through the air straight. So if I'm coming through here, I have to cut straight through and tighten my wrist at the end. What I don't want to do is limp wrist it and then have the machete hit like this, because then I'll damage the tool, I'll bend the tool, I'll scallop the edge, because the deal of a machete is these are much thicker, so they can chop straight through flesh and bone in the case of self-defense, and we'll touch on that. But a very thin machete like the Gavilan, it'll chip off pieces of the blade every time you swing it wrong. And you'll even hear it go ching. You'll hear that noise. It's interesting. In this area, people carry these machetes for self-defense. They carry them every day. These guys can cut a lawn to look like it's manicured only using a machete because that's the tools they have, and they've just learned how to use it with extreme precision and skill. I'll show you guys them cutting some foliage also, and we'll show you how that goes. But really quickly, let me just touch on self-defense with machete use. Now, like I say, these are thicker, so with one swing, it can chop off pretty much any part of the human body it comes in contact with. Sometimes the thinner machetes, they'll only enter hip bone and get stuck. If you swing these properly, it'll cut right through. If you don't swing it properly, you basically need to learn how to use a machete. The Trench Raider has the D guard, so you can actually punch with it and hit with it. The standard machete doesn't have that. But, you know, with a standard machete, the biggest defense thing is machetes have a range. So what I want to do if somebody has a machete and I don't have one, I either want to run away, which is the best option, or I want to get within their range so I'm close and they can't, because when you're within where this blade is swinging out here like this, that's the most dangerous part to be in. So I'll ask them what they think about self-defense for a machete. Y ahora, me imagino que ustedes han visto como gente utilizando el machete para pelear.
Ujú.
Sí puede dar un consejo de autodefensa en el caso que tal vez estás enfrentado a una persona con machete o que usted tiene machete o no tiene, pero ¿cuál consejo pueden dar?
Contra un machete. Pues sí, contra un machete, así como nosotros que somos macheteros. Si una persona viene con un machete y uno está con un machete, uno si a un caso no quiere herirla, lo que hace uno es empezar con ella. Si ella se le agrede primero y se le lanza a uno con el machete, entonces uno lo que tiene que hacer es como el alemán, así, solo quitárselo sin herirlo. Ya, ¿cómo se llama? Cuando ya uno ya está ya la persona se mira que está cansada, o si no hay ningún callejón sin salida, si uno no le aguanta a la persona, lo que tiene que hacer, si le da motivo para correrse, se puede correr para no tener problemas.
Entonces la defensa es así, con mucho movimiento,
Sí,
para que cuando viene el machete puede
pegar aquí.
el bloqueo.
Sí, el bloqueo, correctamente.
Sí, está bueno.
Y si viene el defensa y viene y aquel le tira aquí, le tira puntada, entonces uno le pone aquí, y donde le tira uno.
Sí, está bueno, está bueno. Y si uno no tiene machete y uno viene con machete, ¿qué va a hacer?
Lo más mínimo es correr. Sería mucha la suerte de uno para poder quitar a una persona con machete.
No, muy interesante. So basically what he said was if you have a machete and somebody's coming at you with another machete, you want to be able to move as much as possible, be light on your feet. And it's crazy. This guy hasn't had any formal training with martial arts or anything, but he's literally sharing exactly what I would teach somebody for knife defense. This is not scripted. It's not anything. This guy knows. These are guys work for me. I've got workers down here who have had missing hands. I just had a guy that was helping me with the construction project. Got it into a machete fight. Almost lost an arm. Got cut all over his body. He's been in the hospital for like 2 months. It's a big deal. These guys, they carry machetes, and when they fight, they use their machetes, so they know. So what he said was you got to have this movement in here, and what that does is it's like a shield. Okay, so the more swift you are in moving, and when you see the machete incoming, you put that machete to block the other incoming machete. Then, obviously, it's counter strikes, like we talked about. Very interesting. Everything's loose until it's not. So you're loose in your hand, loose, quick, moving. Same thing with knife defense. And then it's tight right before contact. And if you've got a heavier or bigger machete like the Bone Tactical one, it could actually break a Gavilan. And this one, because it's thicker and a better steel, higher quality steel, harder, better heat treat, it can actually cut through. If you swing it properly and tighten up at the final, right before contact, it can cut right through anything that you really want to cut through. So we'll finish up just doing some more cutting, just going a little bit crazy with the machetes, showing you the differences, and then we'll go do some land clearing. All right, so we got a bunch of brush behind me. We're going to do some brush clearing today. The idea is to put a game feeder there. Moultrie sent in a game cam and a game feeder. And so we're going to put a little feeder in. There's a valley right there over on the other side. Really, really deep valley, but we created a little path and deer actually hide in that valley. Animals obviously here are heavily hunted because, you know, it's a third world country. People are extremely hungry everywhere. So hunting is very difficult, but also there's not people with feeders. So we might get some activity here for sure. We actually did have a hunting videos we did on this same area where we got a nice deer and fed the workers and everything. So cool little thing. So real quick maintenance, what we'll talk about is to sharpen a machete. What they use here is they use a file to maintain these machetes. And like you said, very important, this, what they do is they just make a handle for it. And then they just stick a file in there, and that's what they keep their machete sharp with, is the file. And then also what they call un gancho is the other item that they would use, and they cut a stick with a hook on it. And then so that allows them, because again, a machete is always going to be a one-handed tool. So with one hand, you're going to have your gancho, and you'll be able to manipulate the brush or whatever you're cutting to get that cut and be going at the same time with both hands, going through a cutting pattern. So maintenance is basically a file, and then the, you know, a nice little accessory is one you can use your own machete to cut and then be more effective. So let's just show you some footage of actually how they would attack this large area of, you know, overgrowth and brush. You know, if they come across a snake, that's some of the most poisonous snakes in the world are here. The Barbara Maria, which is the Bothrops asper. It's a dangerous snake. So if it, at the time of chopping, they also have to be ready to we've had several encounters here with those snakes, and you got to be ready to defend yourself against whatever comes up. So you can see here behind me that took about 6 minutes, and they actually just cleared that entire area of brush. Definitely pro users of machetes. Now this is the Gavilan, and so this is going to be the thinner one. And the difference here is you've got like a steel that doesn't get as hard. It's not as tough. It's going to be just a general high carbon steel, really kind of a cheap handle. It's going to be a lot thinner. So it's easier to use for clearing brush because it's lighter. And it's just disposable. You just got to keep filing it down with that file until there's nothing left. Then you got to buy another one. But the Bone Tactical machete here, I'll actually show you the edge right now. No damage whatsoever to the edge. Not a nick, not a chip, not a scratch. It's still completely straight, okay? Proper use of these machetes and they'll last a lifetime, all right? This doesn't have to be sharpened. The Gavilan is going to have to be sharpened all the time. It's going to have to be regularly sharpened. The Bone Tactical machete, the big difference here is that it's a super steel, all right? Our own specific super steel that only we're using, but it's got not just high carbon, it's got other elements in there that make it a lot tougher and last a lot longer before needing to be sharpened, along with our heat treat process that gives it a higher Rockwell hardness. So the steel is going to be inherently tougher at that higher Rockwell range. It's thicker, So it is a little bit, it's going to tire you out quicker, but it can be used for heavier stuff. So the limitations of a machete would be normally that it can't cut either really hard woods or really thick woods. And that's because it would dull so quickly in the case of a normal machete like the Gavilan. And the Gavilan is the best cheap machete that you can get, really. It's, for the price, is great. It's just disposable. If you want, and also, you know, the Bone Tactical is just, it's heirloom quality. All right. The difference in the handles, you know, handmade, you know, beautiful. This one's already chipping. Really, the Bone Tactical machete is much more designed to be carried and used as a EDC tool, but also for self-defense. An heirloom quality tool that'll last a lifetime. Standard machete is really just going to be something that you're going to use maybe every day to work. And you just got to, you know, the Bone Tactical machete is not for everybody. It's for somebody that wants something authentic that can be used like this, like what we're showing, the real deal, but also that's something you can, you know, pass down to future generations and your kids even. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bone out.